Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Franchise Tag. I am Gareth Smith, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, in former New England Patriots star running back Tony Collins. How are we doing?
Doing fantastic, Garrett.
Thank you very much for coming on and speaking to me today. It's truly an honour to speak to yourself. And obviously, New England Patriots at the moment is a team that obviously we thought they may have disappeared, but they've magically come back to life again. As a former Patriot, how interesting is to see this current Patriots team?
Oh man, it's exciting. I mean, it's very exciting. I knew Drake May was a good quarterback last year. He just really didn't have the protection that he has this year.
Yeah.
They're putting it all together, man. I'm looking for a good run. We got the Bills this weekend at home. I got a chance to go 2-0 against the Bills, so that'll be fantastic. We could do that. But we got a great shot to get into the playoffs. Of course, we're going to get into the playoffs, but we got a great shot to make it to the Super Bowl again. That's pretty exciting.
Which, as an NFL fan of another team, in it's scary to think the Patriots could be back again. Like they're a team that we thought they were the ghost of Christmas past, and they've returned again, which is quite. I'm an Eagles fan myself, so having a Patriots team back is always terrifying. Um, but obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about your career. Obviously, you had a hell of a career playing for New England. You know what it means to get to a Super Bowl as well. But let's start off with 1981, 1981, the year you got drafted by the New England Patriots. If you think back to that, how was that moment for yourself? It must be a memory that sticks with you to this day, getting
uh,
drafted in that second round.
it's a memory that I'll never forget, man. You grow up as a kid, uh, believing that you can make it to the NFL. As a kid, your dreams is to play in the NFL, and I got that opportunity. I went to East Carolina University. Played for Pat Dye, played for a great coach, and Pat Dye was there when I got there. Pat Dye was the reason I went to East Carolina, so he played a big part of me making it to the league. And being drafted, man, seeing it was pretty cool. My senior year, my agent was telling me that I was going to probably get drafted in the fourth or the fifth round, and it didn't matter to me. I was excited just to get
Yeah.
drafted, So I'm actually watching. I'm in my dorm room, actually apartment, and I'm watching the draft. They had the draft on ESPN, and I'm watching it on a black and white TV, a 12-inch black and white TV, just watching the draft. And so my agent said that the Washington Redskins will be interested in me. They're going to probably pick me up in the fourth or the fifth round. So I'm waiting for the fourth or the fifth round. And that year when I came out, I went to the combine. That year they had a lot of great players like Lawrence Taylor,
Mm,
Ronnie Lott, Howie Long. Actually, I roomed with Howie Long on one of the tryouts. I forget where we were at, but he was one of my roommates at one of the camps. So I was excited for all the other guys because these guys were first round picks, and Kenny Easley was in that draft as well. Uh, so I'm seeing these guys get drafted because I was with them at the combine, so I'm excited for them. I'm waiting for the fourth or the fifth round, so I'm watching the draft, and New England Patriots have a pick in the second round, and the camera goes on. There's two people sitting at the little desk, sitting at the table with the New England Patriots sign, and so the camera actually tunes in to the this guy's writing down the name on the piece of paper, and the name says Anthony Collins. I was like, is there another Anthony Collins in this draft? Because Anthony Collins is a similar name. As soon as I said that, I get the call from the Patriots, man, and my dreams come true.
nice.
It was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And obviously, it was an interesting one for yourself because you weren't going there alone. In effect, you found out later on, obviously, that a high school teammate as well, in Christy
Yeah, yeah,
also was going.
that's the
How did
crazy
you? How
that's the
did?
crazy part about it. We had a great high school football team in a little small town in upstate New York. We were number one high school, small school in the state of New York my senior year, and we had another player on the team named Chris Chrissy. He was real good. He played wide receiver, running back, and played defensive back. And so me and him we were the stars on the team, and we took our team. We were state champs, small school, and so at the end of the season, it was pretty cool because it was pretty cool at the end of the season. So we go. You got to understand this. Pinyin is a really really small town. My graduating class was probably maybe 105 people at the most,
Yeah.
105. So we go up to Rochester, New York. It's the city, maybe 50 miles from Pyongyang. We go up to Rochester, New York for an interview with these all the other players from around the region, because we're the best in the region. And so we're doing the interview, and the guys are interviewing us, and now we're talking, answering questions back and forth. Me and Chris were sitting at the same table, and one of the reporters, they asked me a question, and I said, man, wouldn't it be cool? And I was saying this to Chris. I said, wouldn't it be cool if both of us make it to the league just like that? And so the reporter, he hears me tell that to Chris, and he says, you guys know what your chances are to get to the NFL from Pyongyang, New York? I was like, nah, I don't have no idea what my chances are. He said, your chances are probably like 3,000 to 1, something like that. I forget what he said, but it was a big number. And this is what my response was. I said, so you're saying we got a chance? That's all I said. Man, we got a chance. And man, I'm telling you, draft day comes. I get drafted in the second round. Chris gets drafted in the 12th round, and we get drafted by the New England Patriots. We're back on the team together again. It was pretty cool, pretty exciting. Your words have power.
It must have been an interesting, obviously, that first day in training, obviously turning up for the first day of training and camp, and obviously seeing someone that you know from that. That must have been a surreal moment for you.
Pretty cool. It was pretty cool for him being there. Yeah.
And when you look, obviously, as well, obviously, your career, I think the year you're probably your best career, obviously, was year 3, your 10 touchdown year, your Pro Bowl year, 1983. What was it about that year that everything just clicked for you?
Oh man, we had a great offensive line. I know you heard of John Hanna. We had John Hanna, who was I think I haven't seen. Man, there probably is, maybe now, but back in the day, John Hanna was the best lineman to ever play the game. I think he is the best lineman to ever play the game anyway. But had John Hanna, Brian Holloway, Ron Wooten, Pete Brock, and man, we had some good ballers. Mostly Tuba was doing a lot of blocking for me. Man, it was just one of those years where you have that great year. I still have a record. I think it's still standing. 212 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Jets that year. So made it to the Pro Bowl. It was a really good year.
And how does it feel being selected for the Pro Bowl when you found that out that you were going to be in the Pro Bowl? How was that moment for you?
That was pretty cool. We were at practice at the beginning of practice. Probably maybe I forget what week it was, and we're all getting ready to go out and do something. And coach calls everybody up, and then he says, we have the guys that makes the Pro Bowl this year. So he starts calling out names of some of the guys on the team, and he calls my name, and I was like, I knew I had a good year, but I didn't think my numbers of touchdowns was big enough to make it. I don't know, but I made it that year, and it was pretty cool going to Hawaii and playing in the game, and playing with the best of the best that year.
And obviously, your career itself, you did end up going to a Super Bowl as well. Obviously, versus the Bears, which obviously wasn't exactly how the game you'd want it to go. Obviously, it's an iconic stadium as well. The Superdome is one that I've been to myself. I was quite fortunate to be out in New Orleans this year for the Super Bowl. As mentioned, Eagles fan, very happy time for me. But how was it being? How was it? How was it? That whole build up to a Super Bowl. Because obviously, it's one of these things that not every player gets to play in a Super Bowl or appear in a Super Bowl, and the whole build up to it is unlike anything else. Obviously, I've seen it from a different side of it because I was there as media this year, and the early starts to get to the various hotels to interview people, and obviously, it has grown in the razzmatazz and all that over the years. But
I think my biggest thing was I'm from a big family, so I had to get a lot of tickets for the game.
Oh, wow.
I had to get a bunch of tickets for the game, man, and I got all the tickets. I'm gonna tell you, it was a big hype. 2 weeks, you got all these interviews with these different people, and it was in New Orleans. It was a great spot to have a Super Bowl in, and we got down there. I mean, I have to say this. we got into the playoffs on the last game of the season. We made it to the playoffs, and every game that we were going to play, we were going to play on the road. So we didn't have any home games. We were going to be on the road the whole time because we were wild card. And so we went to New York, beat New York. Everybody, they didn't know if we were going to beat New York or not, but we went to New York, beat New York. Then we had to go out to Oakland, play the Raiders, and nobody thought we were going to beat Oakland because Oakland, they had a great team. That Marcus Allen, they had the squad. We went out there and beat them, and then we had to come all the way back to Miami. We left Oakland, and we didn't go back home. We went straight to Miami. So we're gone for 2 weeks from the home. So we hadn't beaten Miami, I don't know, 15 years down there. And so nobody thought we were going to win. And everybody wanted to see the Dolphins and the Bears in the Super Bowl because the Dolphins were the only team that year that beat the Bears. They were the only team to beat the Bears that year. So everybody wanted to see that game, but we had different thoughts. We went down there, man. And, we put a beating on them. Actually, we kind of beat them pretty bad. I forget what the score was, but it wasn't close. So, and then we made it to the Super Bowl. I think our Super Bowl was because there was a big buildup that we had no chance to beat Miami in Miami, and we went down there and beat them. That I think that was our Super Bowl because when we got to New Orleans, man, I just thought that they had a great defense. We couldn't really do nothing on offense, and so they had the team, man. That was probably I would have to say I haven't seen another team with that great a defense that year. I'm talking about till this day. They had one. They ran this 4-6 defense, and they had the players to run it, and they were pretty awesome. Their defense was pretty awesome.
And they've got a defense. The Bears to this day still have a defense that everyone compares every defense to. Like when you look at records, I remember there's a few years ago the Eagles had the sack record, but the Eagles obviously did it in a lot more games than what was back when the Bears were doing it. And you just, even to this day, people obviously talk about the Bears teams in the 80s for their defenses. So yeah, hell of a job against 2000 is a very tough team. But obviously, as mentioned though, New Orleans itself, that was a hell of a city. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to go. That stadium, the Super Bowl as well, is a hell of a stadium as well. How did you find that? Obviously, the build up to a Super Bowl, because obviously, as you mentioned, tickets, because you haven't got 17 or 16 siblings or something like that.
Yeah, I got 16, and then you got your uncles, you got your aunts, and whatever.
Yeah,
but it was a big build up. But I'm gonna tell you, man, when the game started, it felt just like another game. But before that, you got all the media. They're coming. You got all these interviews that you got to do every day. But that was the big buildup. But once that game started, it just felt like another game that we didn't win.
Which obviously not everyone can win the Super Bowl because obviously that's the reason it's the pinnacle of the sport. But you found yourself, you did have a good career, and you also were named in the 1980s Patriots team as well. How did you find hearing that you were basically named in that team?
That was pretty cool to be named the All 80s team for the Patriots. I tell you, I love playing up there. I went back up this year to see the game. Actually, I went to the first game of the season against the Raiders, and we lost. I mean, how do we lose against the Raiders this year? So I don't know. But anyway, it's cool to go back up, and I got a chance to go back up this past season to see them play. I'm really excited about where they're going. I think Coach Grable is doing a fantastic job. I think he should get Coach of the Year, the job that he's doing. I don't think nobody expected us to be to be ahead of Buffalo right now anyway, and we're like 2 or 3 games ahead of them. So I think we're sitting in a good spot. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do this Sunday because if they come up there and we beat them again, man, I'm going to be really excited.
Because bearing in mind, the AFC seems really wide open at the moment. Because bearing in mind, there's a team that is normally guaranteed to be in the AFC Championships every year. The team that basically replaced the Patriots as the team that was always there in Kansas City. And they've obviously had a massive drop-off this year in comparison to their usual standards.
Kansas City and Baltimore may not even make the playoffs if they keep playing the where they're playing. I don't
I
understand
know.
what it is. You got San Diego that's there. They're going to get into the playoffs. Buffalo's going to probably get to the playoffs as a wild card as well. And then you got I just don't know about the Central. Maybe Pittsburgh will probably come out of that, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's wide open. Right now, the
Yeah.
AFC is wide open. So NFC, man. I'm really shocked on how the Eagles are playing. I know that's your team, but they're struggling right now, man. So I just it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Going through the NFC, I'm really excited to see because you got a lot of teams in the NFC. You got so many. Who is that? Who I'm thinking about? I can't
Well,
think.
the Rams are the team I've basically got penciled in for the NFC
Yeah,
champion this year.
yeah, yeah.
They look. Then you got Green Bay, obviously with Micah Parsons, who also look
Right.
legit this year. But I've got the Rams. But if the AFC though, I haven't got a clue. Like I've got a couple of mates of mine who are Patriots fans. They have a Patriots podcast as well, so I'd be remiss if I didn't mention their podcast, Patriots pals at this point, Sky and Shane. So I do probably should mention them at this point. But like they're loving life far too much at the moment, which is upsetting because they were happy for such a long time, and now the
Yeah.
Patriots are back like they never went. So another thing, obviously, I thought would be worthwhile talking about because obviously one thing I will say is about the trying to be a player in the NFL. Obviously, is really hard to do, and there's not much if you don't make it as an NFL player, which you were fortunate enough to do. You obviously had a great career, but there was never really any plan B. And obviously, I know you got to play in the arena leagues, and we've seen the growth of the arena league again. The arena leagues are back again, but you also have the likes of the UFL. How pleased are you seeing these other options for players so that it's not NFL or nothing?
I think it's good. I think the other league. What is it? USFL right now? I don't know. I forget.
UFL, it's the UFL right now.
USFL. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I was hoping that how the Major League Baseball do. They have their
Mm,
team and they have their farm team. I think the NFL should do the same thing. But I don't know how they should do it. But I think it's great because now you got the 32 teams in the NFL, and if you can't make it there, you go play in the UFL, and you play there, and you get better, and once you get better, you get a
mm,
chance to make it to the big league. And so I think I'm hoping that these leagues combine together, and they have the New England Patriots have a farm team or whatever like that. Just like the major leagues. I think it's great. I think it's great for the players. A lot of other players they get an opportunity now that back in my day, there at the beginning of my
mm,
career, there was no USFL. There wasn't. NFL was the only thing out there. But it's great
mm.
to see that because now you get these guys that have been having the dreams to make it to the NFL. If they can't make it their first year, or maybe not even their second year, they get better playing in the lower league, and they get the chance to move up. I think it's pretty good.
It was obviously quite interesting because obviously I remember as well growing up as watching some of the European teams. We'd have these players that in effect would come
Mm-hmm.
over and they'd often have on them like the logo of the team that they actually were contracted with, and they'd be
Right.
over in Europe getting their experience, whether they were playing for the London Monarchs or the Scottish Claymores or all the rest of it. So it'd be interesting if obviously if that could ever become a thing again as like again for the feeder kind of system, because as I say, it seems to be the only sport that doesn't really have a plan B for a player. As mentioned, you mentioned the minor league baseball. You've got the NBA has its has its development league,
Yeah.
but there doesn't seem to be that same thing in American football, which is interesting. That be something I think that definitely because there's definitely fans
The
out
only
there.
reason that I see why they don't do that, it's got to be a money thing. I just don't see.
Mm,
I don't understand why they don't do it. Why they don't have a farm team for all these NFL teams. I think it would be really good for them to have that. But I don't know. The only thing I can say why they don't do it is because of the money. I just think
mm,
that the UFL is trying to make money. They got the contract, but at the same time, still you still make your money. And just like the minor leagues, they make their money, then they get a shot to get to the big leagues. I don't
mm.
understand why they can't make that happen. I don't know.
It's an interesting one. One thing I do obviously also want to talk about as well, because obviously you're speaking to someone who's clearly not in America at this point. This accent kind of gives it away. But we're talking about international growth. This sport has now become truly global. We're going to have not only games in America next season, we're having games in Australia. Munich's getting a game again next year. There's rumours of France. Ireland got a game. Obviously, the UK, we've been quite spoilt. We've had games for as long as there've been international games. Mexico. How pleased are you with the international growth of the game that is becoming not just America's game, but a global phenomenon?
I think it's great for them doing that. But I'm gonna tell you, I've talked to some of the players that are playing now. The majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them, they don't like going. They don't like going over there, man. It throws them off. It throws them
Yeah, oh
off
yeah.
because you got to travel uh, 3 hours, 6 hours, or whatever it is, how to get to go to another country, depending on where it is. But the time change is different, man. And it's just
Mm.
like traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast, or the East Coast to the West Coast. A lot of times when we did that, when I was playing, we would go out 2 or 3 days early to get acclimated with the time. So a lot of players don't like it, but I think it's good for the NFL. I know they're making a whole bunch of money. That's what the
Yes.
NFL is all about. The NFL, I'm gonna tell you right now, the NFL is a money machine. They are making so
Mm.
much money, but it's good. It's good for them. But I like the international game. But I'm gonna tell you, a lot of players don't like going over there because of the time zone.
I can imagine. And to be fair, I think we still hold the record for the highest attendance Jacksonville Jaguars game because
Mhm.
obviously Wembley Stadium's bigger than the stadium they have currently. Um, so we are still the record holder for the Jags, which is not something I thought Britain would have that record for, but fair play to us. But as obviously the international growth, it's also not only now just being games internationally. We're starting to see an influx of international players starting to go to college, like the NFL Academy here based in the UK, and you've also got the one in Australia, is slowly but surely starting to see more and more players go to college each year. I interviewed this week 2 players are going off to D1 college. How much would you think it's important for this game to develop internationally for a player pool perspective as well?
I mean, I think it's great. Again, it's an opportunity for people out, from overseas to come and play a sport that they love. I just think it's a great thing. I mean, I really do. I think what they're doing. We back when I was playing, we never did that. We never went out of the country to play any games. But I think it's great for the league and great for the international players as well.
So obviously that's the international, but let's talk about more about yourself these days. Obviously, you've obviously retired from the game, but your involvement is obviously not that over. You spent a lot of time since retirement, obviously talking to high school families and players through that process of going from high school to college, which I think is something that us Brits don't truly understand because obviously we don't have that process of going to college where we in effect get sports scholarships and all the rest of it. Um, how much have you valued your work in that space and like helping these kids in effect with what that process looks like so they can put themselves in the best position?
Yeah, I used to work for this company called NCSA, National Collegiate Scouting Association. They're a company out of Chicago, and we went around all over the country. It was great, man. I talked to thousands and thousands of kids, high school kids, trying to get into school, trying to give them a game plan to what they do. And with me, I got the opportunity to write a book and tell my life story, the bad things that I did, the good things that I did. So these kids can really understand what you need to do to make it. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, every kid that wants to go to college, they also want to play in the NFL. They have that in their mind. They
Yeah.
might not say it, but if you're trying to get to college to play ball, your next step, your goal is to get to the league, and that's what
Yeah.
it is. And I think one of the things that what I was doing with the guys is talking to them and sharing my life with them. So they, one of the things about kids in high school, they got to understand how important that education is, because I went to school just to play football. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I had no interest in school at all. I just wanted to do what I had to do to keep my 2.0 grade point average, or 2.5, whatever it was. Kept that 2.5 my whole career, and so I did just enough to graduate. And so I'm telling these kids, man, you got to work hard. You got to put the time in, and it's all about the education. Because what if you get hurt? What if you blow out a knee? What? So, and now you got to fall back on your education. It's a thing that I think it's great that the NCSA is still going on today. I'm retired. I don't do any more motivational speaking anymore. I'm 66 years old now, and I can't travel by myself anymore. So it was really good to do that. I do a lot of TED Talks over the phone, so I can't travel like I used to travel. But just helping these kids is something that I love doing, and man, I really miss it a lot. I get a lot of. I have one of my sons. He's actually taking the reins now and helping these high school kids, because now I'm gonna tell you, man, these kids are making thousands and thousands and thousands of
Oh
dollars.
my word!
It's unbelievable how much these kids are making in school. Millions of dollars in school.
Oh, it is. It's
Crazy,
crazy
man.
because obviously
It's crazy.
you're talking to someone as well.
I told my son, I said, I was born at the wrong time. I was born at the wrong
Like,
time, because these kids are making money today.
oh, literally, because bearing in mind, obviously, I played at my university. I played rugby first team for my university, and like the whole college American football thing, it blows my mind a little bit. The fact that you're seeing like 80, 90,000, 100,000 people in attendance watching. I remember
Yeah.
our biggest crowd was 5,000. That was good. It was a varsity game against our rival city, like university. That was like a big game for us. 5,000 people were there. Well, yet
Right.
you're seeing 100,000 people in like Bama and all that kind of stuff. It's just absolute, and Baton Rouge and all the rest of it, like where obviously college ball is obviously it's college ball heartland basically. But yeah, it's crazy when you see this, and now the money they're making. There's some people who probably make more than they're going to make in their NFL career, because some of them aren't going to make it in the NFL past year three.
But I say this, good for them. If
Yeah.
if you can make that money, get as much money as you can. That's what I tell myself: make as much money as you can, and save as much money as you can.
And one obviously last thing before, obviously there's also the foundation that you're involved in as well. It's for the kids. How did that come about? How did that for the
That
foundation
that
to get set up?
that came about. I had a golf tournament back in my hometown where I grew up at, and I went through a period in my life that I went through the drug scene, and I went through that,
Mm.
and and I got an opportunity to get clean and to get all that stuff behind me. And I wrote my book, and with the foundation, what I did, we did tournaments, we raised money, helping kids get off drugs, helping kids do different things. With the golf tournament, we did that maybe almost 10 years. We did that golf tournament. I think we stopped when COVID hit. After COVID hit, we didn't start it back up again. But it was a lot of fun raising money and helping kids. Making sure they know how important it is, the education is, how important it is to do the right thing, stay away from,
Mm.
and be it was the thing that I wanted to do was share my life with them, so they won't make the same mistakes that I made. That was my whole entire goal, and the book was a complete success. Man, I sold a whole bunch of copies. It's still selling, but it I'm real proud of that. I'm really proud of me going through what I went through, and getting back on top now. And man, I'm living my best life. I'm down here in Louisiana now, living down here. My wife is from Louisiana, so we moved down here probably about
Nice.
2 or 3 years ago. And man, I love it down here. The food is fantastic.
Ah, it was my
Yeah,
favorite thing about New Orleans, the food in New
I'm
Orleans.
living my
Like,
best life right now. Yeah.
that was one thing. Obviously, when I was in New Orleans, I loved the food when I was there. Like,
Oh
I,
yeah.
I love a bit, love a bit of spice food. I love seafood. I was in heaven while I was there when it comes to that kind of thing. And obviously, you mentioned your book as well. Do you want to tell us where we can, we want to buy it, where we should be going to purchase it?
Yeah, well, you can go to Amazon. You can go to Amazon. It's my book. You know, I think you can go to Amazon. It's uh, breaking. I'm sorry, Amazon. You can get it from Amazon, or you can go to my page on Facebook or Instagram. My Facebook. Go to my Facebook page now. If you want to, if you go get it from Amazon, you're gonna pay more and not get an autographed copy. But if you go to me, you're gonna pay less and get an autographed copy. So you can get it from Facebook, or you can go to Amazon and order the copy.
There we are. Particularly, a Patriots fan in your life out there who will want a signed copy from a 1980s All Patriot Pro Bowl player. Why not go direct? No, thank you very much for your time today. It's been an absolute honour to talk to yourself. Thank you very much for speaking to me today.
Thank you.
And obviously, thank you everyone at home for watching. We're back again soon with another special guest.